I want to just go through really quickly a list of all of the things that this movie made me nostalgic for, because this
All right.
film takes place in 1920, and here we are in 2021, and as you're watching it,
The clothes are much better.
it just feels like I
Yes.
am watching an advanced people, like a far advanced, progressive, like developed and civilized people. Like I think on almost every count, we have regressed. And look,
I turned to my wife and said, like, wouldn't society be better if like people dressed this way? If
yeah,
there
Even
was
the
actually
working
some
class
sense
people
of,
dressed much better, you know?
oh yeah, are you kidding me?
look, you watch this movie and there's a noticeable absence of, technology and gadgets and stuff. But on every other count, it just seems like, whoa, this is like an alien species far advanced beyond our wildest imaginings.
Okay,
So,
go for it.
okay, patriotism, just general culture, leisure, like knowing how to spend, having time for leisure.
Gilbert and Sullivan.
huh?
Gilbert
Yeah,
and Sullivan for sure.
The university.
I mean, it's just so fantastic that like the ideal of the education of that period was that you would learn law, go on to be a lawyer, but also be like a musical performer,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
There was this, and that to me is like, just to interrupt your list a little bit more, I love the fact that there are societies in England about literally everything.
Yes.
Right.
Oh
You
my
have
gosh.
the Footlight Society. You have the
One of the most exciting parts of the film for me was when the new freshman class has first arrived, and
Oh, yeah,
and they're
no, I
going
love that
they're
scene.
going around to like all the clubs, basically all the societies,
love
and
that
signing
scene.
up. It's like a huge portion of it is a single shot where you're moving
Yeah.
through
It's
this
great
crowd.
camera work.
It's awesome camera work, and yeah, just like the public singing. This is a part of every culture
Yes.
in human history except for our own.
Right.
Like
Right.
I think that it's Giussani who said that. Oh man, it's one of these like weird communion and liberation quotes. Like you with Opus Dei. I'm like communion and liberation adjacent. What is it? It's like a people who sings is a people that is aware of itself. So
Yeah.
so like it's like an expression of
Right.
community and it's expression of belonging. That they're together around the piano singing a Gilbert and Sullivan tune.
Yeah.
You know,
I
it's-
love that Gilbert and Sullivan, which I love Gilbert and Sullivan. I love that that's like the other soundtrack for this movie, other than the techno. You know?
Yeah. Well, okay. So singing, respect for the Sabbath, male intimacy and friendship, good dress. We already hit. Good vocabulary. Good vocabulary. Good
Vocabulary.
good manners. Like all
Yeah.
of these things just struck me as like why do we not have these things, right? You watch a period movie and a lot of times you're struck by like say something like Gladiator, like, oh wow, they did a really good job of recreating this like ancient history. Wow, it would suck not to have air conditioning. But you watch a movie like this and it's just 100 years ago. This is not a long time. And it's like, whoa, how have we regressed so far?
But a lot of this is due to just the modern rebellion against any form of authority, and people don't experience the willingness to take on a personal obedience to an authority as like a joyful, pleasurable
Yeah.
thing. But the fact is like once you take on obedience as a voluntary duty, you gain admission to a community that you cannot enter into except through obedience.
Well, and that's the whole
And
whole point of authority is establishing the community,
Right.
yeah, and I mean there's a double edge to standards. Is on one hand, standards are what provide everything that you are nostalgic for, and then on the other hand, people will feel slighted by standards,
Right.
especially today. Is like people feel like extremely resentful and slighted towards any form of standard as like a form of oppression, and it's
Well, and
a sad
But
thing. It's a really sad thing.
sorry, even aside from those things, like a lot of the things you mention are like have changed simply as a direct result of technology.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like the
Yeah.
fact that people don't sing together for entertainment is because of recorded music. you know, and the fact that you know, the clothes are different is probably partially
Sure.
a result of
Mass production.
mass production.
Yeah.
Although I guess that was already happening to some extent with clothes at that time. You know, and a number of the things that you could mention are also a direct result of technological, and the changes in the Olympics are partially a result of them being broadcast on television. You know, you know, it would take a very high level of virtue to sort of like resist the natural like tendencies of some of these technologies.
Well, yeah. So, you know, this is all partly why I'm glad that this film is sort of situated the way that it is in this sort of hermeneutic of looking back on a life and on our forefathers. Because for me, you know, that's where like the real gold is in this film. Obviously, you know, you could talk all day about its sort of primary concern of you know, doing things for God's glory, excellence, you know, overcoming obstacles, all of that. But you scratch the surface a bit more and you get more into these sort of social aspects to the film. That's for me where it gets really interesting.
Yeah.